Welcome to Built for This. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe. My podcast features captivating conversations with intriguing people who have found purpose in their lives through their career, family, or life experiences, and just why they were built for this. Through the stories that you will hear, I trust that you will be inspired and encouraged to find just what you were built for. So let's get started. And welcome again to another edition of Built for This, and welcome into the studio. And now, this is a very special treat here today. My guest is the person that actually produces this podcast, Hannah McGinty from Media DFW, does a lot of other things, but a wonderful producer. And Hannah, thanks for joining me on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Brian. This is so exciting.
This is a good, to bring you on this side of the camera and the microphone. You do so many great things, not only with this podcast, but a lot of other things. We're going to talk about that. But let's just first talk about, let's go way back before Media. Yeah.
Okay.
University.
How far back did you go?
We're going to go way back. I've got a list here back, farther than you want to go.
Okay, Brian.
No, University of North Texas.
Yes.
So we're both UNT grads. Yes. Go Mean Green. And it was probably before that, but what drew your attention of videography, photography, creating things like this in a visual storytelling mode?
I feel like since I was a kid, I've always been into visual storytelling between art and claymation.
Yeah.
And I would animate gummy bears as a child. I would try to find anything to be my little subjects, to be my little storytelling vessels. But I was always like a little creative, a musician. I grew up in a Filipino family, so we always are known for the singing and the music.
Yeah.
Any other Filipinos out there, they can confirm. But really, when I got into college, I thought I was going to go in for music. And I was playing violin competitive for 4 years in high school. And when I saw some people heaving in the practice rooms, I said, I don't think this is for me. I'm going to do a hard pivot. What else can I do that might be music related, but not necessarily performing, right? Yeah. So I looked into music as in composition for movies, and I was like, that would be interesting. And I looked at what offers that, and UNT had a music composition major. And then I looked more into it, and I was like, you got to practice in the practice rooms.
Oh, there's that
You still
part.
have to do performing. So I was like, hard pivot. Let's do that again. What else could I do? And I had one of my best friends from high school was double majoring in English and RTVF. And I was like, what is RTVF? Yeah. Radio, TV, film. Ooh, that sounds cool. That sounds intriguing. So that's how I got started in it. And I was like, maybe I will change my major someday, but I kind of want to start in this and see if I like it. And I loved it.
Interesting track, because a million years ago when I was at North Texas, that was my exact track, radio, TV, film,
Really?
English minor.
Oh.
And so I was going along that way, and RTVF. So talk about that. I think we both did our time at the campus radio station.
Yes,
did
we
you
did.
envision yourself as a disc jockey someday?
I was always interested in radio.
Yeah.
I love the thrill of it. I don't like mispronouncing things though.
Sure.
Which I realized I was slightly dyslexic, and reading things on on cue, on time was really hard.
Problematic.
It was a little problematic, but I did it for a year at KNTU, my freshman year.
Yeah.
Just to get the experience, just to say I did it.
Yeah.
It was fun, but not for me, ultimately, for the long haul. I don't think I could see myself doing radio forever. I was really intrigued by documentaries, though, and the long-form stories. So I kind of went down that route in terms of how my classes went. I also took a little bit of PR and advertising. So I was kind of interested in the commercial fun of it, too.
Well, you say storytelling because that's really what you are all about in your company now, and a lot of your efforts. Take us to, you get out of North Texas, and your first little foray, I think you were working maybe with a church group in San Antonio. Talk a little bit about that purpose, that mission, that storytelling that really grabbed your heart, if I can say that, at that time when you were developing stories for them.
So San Antonio, I didn't think I was going to go to San Antonio for one. I'd never been before. And it really just felt like God was calling on my heart to go to this ministry. I was actually an Eagle ambassador at UNT. And when it was downtime and it was in the winter, no tours were happening. We were bored. We're all looking for jobs on the computer and like what's out there. And a friend of mine at the Eagle ambassador program was like, hey, I saw this job listing and instantly thought of you. And she was someone I really respected. I really loved. And I was like, I'll look at it. And then I kept reading it. I was like, you know what? That sounds interesting. A media director at a camp. What's that supposed to look like?
Yeah.
But the mission of that organization is what drew me to it, because they restore homes and they restore hearts, inevitably, because they're restoring the homes. And I'm like, I kind of want to see that in action. And then I get to be the one to document it. That sounds kind of fun. So I did an interview. I did a call. And it was like a very genuine interview about like, who are you becoming? Like, I was like, what are you asking me these questions for in a job interview?
Yeah.
But I could tell that they really cared about who I was and how I would be around the kids as a mentor and, getting to know the homeowners. And it was a very new direction they were going with media director, because they were just doing camp highlight videos. Yeah. Easy stuff. Yeah. High schooler could do it. But the other part of it that they needed someone with a college degree for was the documentaries of the homeowners. Given I had zero experience, they're really taking a shot on me.
Yeah, it was a big leap.
Yeah, a little bit of a big leap. But it was grueling hours. I mean, it's a camp. So we're up at the crack of dawn. We're up till really late at night socializing with the kids. And it was a lot. But it was also one of the best like transformational times for me, and like how I would then build a company is because it was like very people first with how all the stories were being told and like getting down to the root. Because sometimes I'd be there in an interview with someone with very camera shy, didn't trust cameras, didn't trust people. I had to sit there and just get to know her for like 3 days just so that she would open up in front of the camera, right?
Yeah.
And so part of that is like what I love about documentaries is it's relational. Yeah. Like you have to get to know people for them to trust you enough to actually share their story. And then like what parts of their story then do you share? That's the puzzle piece of it. I've always loved jigsaws. So I feel like documentaries are real-time jigsaws.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that it was transformational for you. As you look back, and maybe at that point you might not have realized I'll be a company owner at some point.
Yeah.
But when you look back on the foundational underpinnings that experience had for you, as you mentioned, that you not only documented building houses, but it was building of lives after that, and you got to know their heart. What did you take away from that now has become part of your company now?
So, gosh, I shouldn't cry, right, no. Brian?
That's why I like that. I wanted to have you on here. No?
Well, there was a woman I met, and this is part of my story. This is like how I started Heart Media. Yeah. It was all because of this one experience I had while doing this internship. And her name was Virginia, and she was battling stage 4 breast cancer by the time that we met her on her 70th birthday. That's the day that we met her. And she was just like one of those ladies that had like multiple locks on her door and like would maybe crack it open and then close it really fast. And you're like, okay, we'll try tomorrow. Like, but as we got the kids to work on her house, we found out she had a love for George Strait.
Okay.
She tried to get these kids on her George Strait cassette tapes and like sing with them and teach them songs, teach them how to 2-step in her house. Wow. And like, it was the cutest thing to witness her going from like closed door, closed heart off from people. Also, lots of bitterness she was just harboring in her life, to being someone just filled with joy and a renewed hope in God at the end of our time there. And it was only 3 months, but it was just such a transformational time for me to get to witness that, not knowing how long she would be with us. Yeah. And then watching the kids also be touched by that too. And just how like having a servant's heart and having, a love for others really is what this life is all about. Yep. And that we happen to have, a media skill that helps us tell those stories. I'm just like, I feel so blessed because I'm like, I would never want to do anything else. Like this is it for me. This is great. But yeah, I think that's the main takeaway is like serve other people. And anything that you do, love other people. And we try to really have that be a part of how we breathe at Heart Media. So,
and we're going to dig deeper into that, but I know kind of alongside Heart Media DFW is your wedding and
yes.
photography business, Modern Memoir.
Yes.
But that's also, you're exceptional at what you do there, videography and photography, and I've seen that work. But the stories that you get to tell there, I know just because knowing who you are, that it's more than just an assignment to come up and document people, gathering and congregating and exchanging vows. What do you do when you meet couples, and then what's your first step or your process of how am I going to tell their story? And I would think you're getting to know the people to start with.
Yes, getting to know them even before they've paid me a dime.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want them to know I genuinely care about them and their story and their love and their legacy that they're about to build together. No matter what that looks like. I mean, they could have dogs. They don't need kids. But I mean, like, what legacy are they leaving?
That's right. Yeah.
What are they doing? And so how'd they meet? That's the simplest one. But why do they love each other? It's always about the why, and then who made them who they are today. And when you have like patriarchs in the room, like grandparents, and like that matters a lot to them, I make sure that that's in their film or that they're interviewed. And there's just like been way too many people who, I've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah.
Too many people who tell me, that was the last time all those people were in the room. And a lot of them have passed away now. And just to be that person that can help them cling to a memory of someone or a voice or a laugh that was from their special people, that's such a gift to give to somebody, regardless of price tag. But yes, it is a little costly.
Yes, sure.
It's just like for the documentary type of things, just because of how involved it is. I'm like spending about 16 weeks on one film for weddings, and for corporate stuff, it's like 2 to 4 weeks, right? Like, it's a lot more involved in the wedding side, and there's a lot more burnout on wedding professionals just because the event industry is very taxing on your body. But just making sure that like we take care of one another. The couple is the client, yes, but how can I best tell their story in a way that that's what they want to be known as, right? Because this is something that gets passed down to generations. It's not just a film they watch once, because my couples watch it every anniversary. It's that good. That's right. And I've had one couple tell me, we were thinking about divorcing, but we rewatched our video and we renewed our vows. I'm like, there we go.
That's the reason you do what you do.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
So when it came time to, you said you've been doing that for 10 years, and you could probably do it for another 10 or 20 or 30. What made you take a step toward, I want to make this bigger than just that and create something called Heart Media DFW? What brought you to that crossroads?
The ultimatum there is family planning.
Sure. Well, there's that.
With weddings, they do take me all around the world, which I'm blessed to say. Not everyone gets to say that. But I am gone that's the reality is I'm gone when I'm having to go film stuff. And my husband, Josh, he works a full-time job here at Toyota. So it's just, he's here, right? Yeah. He takes care of our pets, and I'm gone filming something somewhere else for a week or 2 or 3 weeks at a time, depending if it's international. And it can take a lot. I'm such an introvert, so I like to be home. I'm such a homebody. And, I just really want to develop something here locally that we can always have and go to and work within the DFW area, where I could work 30 minutes away from home and come right back. Yeah. It's great. So that's really ultimately why. And I'm trying to build this company up so that it can have, a really good company culture. Mm-hmm. There's something that production companies are known not to have, and it's work-life balance.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
You work 13 hours, you can work 80 hours in the same week, and there's no predictability. Yeah. So I'm really trying to create a production company that has a 9-to-5 predictability for not only the owner, but for the people that work for it. And that it has just like good foundational morals and values that it's built upon. There's just a lot of things in production that can be crazy. I've worked a full-time production job and know. Yeah. So I'm just trying to build a safe environment for that, for creating. But yeah, I think there's a lot of like media out there. Why not produce good media? If it's going to be inundated out there with so much media, we might as well be putting stuff that's good out there.
You mentioned a lot about foundation and what your company's built on, people-centric values, that kind of thing. I need to read this. I want you to talk about one of the big things that you've said in there is that people rise when someone champions their potential. If that's got to be so uplifting to a client if they're trying to figure out, how do I brand myself? What is my message? How do I let people know who I am? Where does that come from in you when you say that that's an important part of what your company is?
Yeah, I mean, usually it only takes one person to believe in you for you to go the next mile, right? Because sometimes we just don't believe in ourselves enough, or that we don't know, we don't see our own potential. And so for someone else to call that out of somebody else, like I always, like, even in a marriage sense, it could be in a company sense, I feel like it's all around because we're all humans, but just trying to bring out the best in somebody else. Like, how can we do that? How can we bring each other to be the best versions of ourselves?
Yeah.
And I had one person who maybe wasn't like the most encouraging individual, but they were an employer, tell me, you know, Hannah, you could easily be making $100K with the talents that you have. And I was making maybe $13 an hour at the time.
Sure.
By this person paying me.
Okay.
I was like, that's interesting. Really?
What a perspective.
I know, what a perspective. And like, you know, I wouldn't even have thought to think I could do that, you know? Because I think we're in a society where it's just like, you don't be a business owner, you go work for somebody else, and that's it.
Yeah.
You really just try your best. But I think that, you know, being someone who strives just naturally as a people pleaser, that was something that was like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, I can go do that? No way. But I was like, let me try it. Let me try it. That's when I started the wedding business.
Yeah.
Just really going all in at it. I think that, you know, if that person hadn't told me that, I wouldn't have considered it, to be honest. I would have just kept trying to climb up some production ladder somewhere. They're really chaotic, to be honest.
Yes.
So I was like, I don't know where to climb, but we got to go somewhere. We got to keep doing some big project, keep doing something. And there was really no direction until that moment, which is so weird. But I really do believe that, like, I've seen it in other people's lives. Like, I'll see something like, hey, you know what? You're a really kind person. Even just being simple like that, just like, you're really patient, or calling out like good characteristics in somebody. They may not see that at that time. You know, you don't know what people are going through. So just to be their biggest fan and to call out the potential that they have, I think that's great.
Which is unusual in this day and age of business dealings. But if you bring that perspective to your clients when you're working on their branding or whatever the element might be, I can see how that would elevate, you know, their involvement, their kind of thing too. How important is it for you to help that client in your work that you do find their why? Why they do what they do? And is that a role that you play as the person that comes into the creative picture?
Yes, especially with small businesses, because the small businesses are really doing 100 things at 100 miles a minute.
Yeah.
And so to be the person that's like, at least their steady brand guide, to be like, okay, what are we moving towards? What in the next 10 years, where do we see ourselves? Now, how can we put that into words and help them with the copywriting on that? It's a step-by-step process, but finding their why is what gives them their purpose and their passion. If they've lost it, it's like, we'll try to find it again. And then I've seen someone where they thought they were going to go in a direction for their business, and then we spoke, and then they're like, actually, I'm really passionate about this one thing we talked about. I'm like, cool. How about you don't do that anymore, and you do this new thing here? And they did it. It's taken off, and it's like fantastic. I can see that they're blooming in every sense of the word just because they went and found the thing that was, you know, God-given purpose in them to go and do the thing. Simple.
I know you're. How important is it for you? I mean, when you pick and choose clients, and it maybe you are pretty selective on who your clients are, but I know that you've worked with a lot of, you know, very purposeful organizations, nonprofits, that kind of thing. How important is that for Heart Media to be involved in nonprofits or something that have a mission or a purpose that is for good?
Yeah, Heart Media will always be involved with nonprofits.
Yeah.
It's something that, giving back, I believe is very important. Down to that like servant heart mentality.
Yeah.
Like if we're always taking,
Yeah.
we won't know what it's like to serve, and we could be more puffed up than we need to be.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to always be working with nonprofits and to, do something bigger than ourselves. And yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
Let's talk about your podcast.
Oh, yes.
Outsmart the Hustle.
Outsmart the Hustle.
Tell me what that's about and how that can encourage other people. And if they haven't checked it out, they need to check that out.
Yeah. So Outsmart the Hustle was intended for creative business owners. And it currently, I talk to photographers and videographers just naturally because I know that's the audience that tends to listen to me.
Yeah.
But I will open it up someday to all creative business. I think that anyone who's a creative business owner would get a lot out of it still.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a lady down in Houston message me who has a tattoo shop and said she was really inspired by my podcast. And I was like, you definitely were not the intended audience, but I am so glad you got something out of this.
Yeah.
And I'm very open about my faith on the podcast.
Yeah.
And like, I really try to make it about like sales and marketing and, the daily struggles of what it's like to own a business and how to overcome them.
Yeah.
It's very raw and real, and some of them are short, some of them are long. If I have a guest, I don't really have a set time like yours is,
Yeah.
although I probably should.
Yeah.
But my podcast can range from 4-minute, thought leading
Sure.
things to 45-minute talks with a guest. So
Okay.
it really varies, but what we try to do is how can we leave someone better than we found them? So what advice could I give somebody that would help bring their business some cash flow? What advice could I have to help them be a little bit more confident in the sales calls? Just anything to really help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about your faith just now, and talk a little bit about how important that is in the fabric of your company, because I know it is very important in how you live every day. And maybe that was a lot of the genesis of naming your company that you serve with a heart servant. And that's, but just talk a little bit about how important that is for you.
Yeah. I always like to get to the heart behind why people do what they do. And the fact that Heart Media was available, I was like, yes. Now I had to pay a pretty penny for that URL.
Yes.
But it was worth it, heart.media, really easy website to look up.
Okay.
But I really think that, my faith is in every fiber of my being and what I do. It's the purpose behind why I talk to people the way that I do, why I serve certain clients and reject others.
Yeah.
It's a very guiding, it's like a compass, in my life and how I go about things. Even just before making a business deal, I'll pray, like, God, is this what I should do?
Sure.
Right. I want to make sure that, because I have a responsibility now that it's more than just me.
Yeah.
Like we got Manuel here, we got Christina on our team, and, being responsible for people's livelihoods.
That's a big weight.
It's a big weight, but I'm learned so much about trusting God this year, especially about where will the money come from. It's a lot of self-promotion at the same time as it's like, okay, God, I need you to come through and bring somebody. And he's done that time and time again. Like I'll be praying and then someone will come out of the blue from a recommendation that I maybe talked to this person 2 years ago and suddenly they thought of me. And I'm like, that's God coming through and bringing clients,
Yeah.
So a lot of it with business ownership, I'm trying to do my best to be like, okay, God, I want you to lead my business. Like you're my business partner here.
Yes, right. That's right.
And kind of take one step at a time. My business, like if God blesses it, that'd be awesome. Like we're going to find ways to give back. It's always been my dream to be involved in an orphanage of some kind.
Yeah.
But I just really think that Heart Media, it's going to always have that as a part of it. The people that come on and work with us will always have that striving in them to be like, I want to work with purpose, but I want to be in the media industry.
Yes.
And so like, I want to provide that space for people to come here and work and do like purposeful, meaningful storytelling. I think that that's what changes lives. And I'm really excited that we're going to get to be a part of that.
When you got out of college, 2019-ish, which was a wonderful time to really start a business or get into business,
Yeah,
COVID era and all of that. So you're working your way through those early years we talked about earlier in San Antonio, and then your modern memoir business. What about the challenges that you had, I guess, with trusting God to lead you along that path, and not really knowing what was ahead to where you are now with Heart Media DFW, but as a business owner and just as a person trying to navigate life and figure out what you were built for, how important was the trust factor of trusting the process?
So I've matured so much through this, and I still feel like, humbly, I'm still learning a lot about business ownership. I'm only, at this time of the podcast, 28. Wow. So it's just like I really learned how to trust God through hardships. And I still feel like I have to learn how to trust God when things are hard. It's a constant. But there was a passage I was reading in scripture about when the disciples got into the boat. Jesus was the first one to say, hey, get into the boat. Yeah. And then it stormed, and they're like, why are we here? And he's like, you obeyed me and got into the boat, right? But he was calm, and he's always calm in the storm. Yeah. And so to follow his example, to follow his lead, that's all I really ask for myself, to simply just be obedient. But he'll handle the rest. Yeah. In the chaos, in the goodness. So the trust, in COVID is like, I had a friend, a very sweet friend, who knew, because she interrogated me, I couldn't pay enough for rent. Oh. And she got me through COVID. I think she paid about 6 months of my rent. Wow. And it was a very humbling time. It was like, I couldn't get help anywhere else. And that was that one friend that really was God, showing God's love to me in that time. And it was such a blessing. And I don't take anything for granted. It's just like, yeah, we could lose everything in a heartbeat, but we still have God. And so that is what I am constantly striving for. It's like, okay, God, I have this business, but if you took it away today, I know I'll be okay. I just have to be like, okay, everything is a gift. Yeah. Everything I do, everyone I serve, everyone that comes to our doors, like, how can we bless them? How can we show them love? Because that is ultimately like what God has shown me. And so it's like, that's what I want to show other people. Yeah. Yeah.
You've told a lot of stories in the time you've done it, a lot of people's stories, and delivered their messages. But what have you learned about yourself telling other people's stories as you dig deep into their lives, learn about them, then you try to fashion, okay, how am I going to reflect this in a visual sort of way? Do you learn something new about yourself as a storyteller?
I feel like yes, and this is a very deep question.
Sure. I like to throw those out there.
I love them. Yes, I think that patience, I've had to grow in so much patience. And I think, you go down to my youth, I've been characterized as a pretty impatient person. Wanting things now, figuring out how I can get them now. But I feel like that also is what's given me my grit and my, resilience as a person, is like maybe just slightly impatient. But what I've had to learn, owning a business, being an interviewer to an interviewee, asking questions, it's patience and it's listening. And so that is something that I've had to grow in myself, is to be a good worker in my specific field. I need those character traits to get the right story across as naturally as possible. And so that is something that's developed in me over time, which I actually really like being characterized as a good listener nowadays. It's like, yeah, that's good. It means that, you can show people you care about them, and like you are helping them and listening and being a friend. And like, that's also something you do in professional work. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like aligned. It's just like in corporate role, you're like this. In the personal world, you're like this. I'm like, what if you could be the same person, consistent, known through all time? I've seen some CEOs give advice where they're like, we don't want your personal life in work. Right. I feel so challenged by that.
Yes, right. I know.
I get it, where someone might be saying, less words than they need to in that case, where maybe they're like, we don't want to hear about your personal problems all the time at work. I get that. There's a balance to that. But I'm also like, be there for your people. And if they're struggling, have a human heart to be like, how can we help? You know, I know you probably will be a more productive individual if we could just talk through this.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's also been something I've grown in, is like, you know, caring for what people's struggles are rather than being afraid of opening up the can of worms. It's more just like, okay, let's organize the worms. I don't know. Like, let's at least give them a little bit of a purpose. But yeah, I think those things. Yeah.
Well, how hard is it? Well, not hard, but when you go on an assignment to shoot someone's wedding, or if it's a company and you're working on their brand or whatever, do you run across people that say, well, I don't really have anything interesting to say, or I don't have an interesting story? How do you connect with that person to let them know that everyone has some kind of story to tell? And what are the avenues? What are your avenues to get to that story? Then that's going to allow you to do what you do.
To be honest, those are some of the most fun clients for me, because I don't believe them when they tell me that.
Yeah.
So that stubborn part of me is like, no, you can believe in yourself. You have a story to tell. You are important. And the things that have gotten to where you are today matter. And they're believing a lie about themselves, that they aren't important, that the things that they have done aren't worthy of talking about. And I'm like, let's sit down and talk, because you do matter, sir or ma'am. Yeah. And so seeing them open up after talking with me I'm like, we did it, we won. Yeah. Because they now know I have something to give. And that's really beautiful. Everyone has something to give. We're all called to be leaders. Some people are just a little bit more shy than others. But I love doing that, because when I see them start talking about the thing I know they're passionate about, we've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that if you just, show someone or elevate them a little bit to their potential, then they're going to rise above, maybe way beyond what they thought they could do.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's the biggest challenges you've had in building a company that you've had to hurdle? I mean, obviously everyone has financial things they've got to get in place and all the nuts and bolts. But for you as the entrepreneur spirit, what's been the hurdles that get maybe just with yourself to say, I should do it, I could do it? Anything in particular that you've had to get past?
Yeah, most admin tasks.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I'm a visionary through and through. I went through a training that helped me see that I am like a big visionary.
Yeah.
Being organized is not my strong suit, but we knew that.
You have people to do that.
I have people to do that. I have a friend that taught me how to use color-coded pens and planners. Bless her. I have people in my life who've shown me, as a college student, I was in a college ministry. I got to be a leader there. And in that leadership, I really take a lot of those skills from that ministry and that position into being a owner of a business, because it's like, once you add personalities into the mix, you start hiring people, it really
the whole
tests
dynamics.
You. Yes. Because and this could just be my upbringing, but one of my weaknesses is words of affirmation, which is ironic.
Yeah,
because I really try to bring the best out of people when I talk to them and when I'm really intentional. But I think it's more like, it could be more than just like, you're just doing a good job, right? But how do you say that?
Sure. Yeah.
How do you say you're doing a good job when you're for sure doing a good job? And like when I say to someone, you're doing a great job, I really genuinely mean it. But to them, it's just, you're doing a great job.
It didn't quite come across as much as you. Yeah.
Right. And so I've had to learn a lot about how to communicate someone's doing a really great job in an even more elaborate way, just to let them know I really do mean it. Or that, if something could be improved upon, how to not be so direct and to the point, but using the sandwich method to, you're doing great at this. We need to improve on this. Also, thank you for doing this. And so it's just being really intentional about how I phrase things in a workplace environment has been something I've had to grow in for sure. But I think the intentionality of everything I've had to just be more hyper aware of it. You wouldn't know this, I guess, just by knowing me now, but I was a very blunt person. I'd be like direct to the point, very intentional with the words that I would say, but maybe a little bit too much. And so I didn't come across as gentle. And so I know, right?
What? I can't believe that.
So I had to learn how to be gentle with my words, with my body language. Because I grew up in a rigid environment, I would say, where it was like straight to the point, less words, better. So yeah, that's been something I've grown, knowing myself as a visionary. I can be up in the clouds a little bit. So having someone, the first hire had to be somebody who was my direct opposite.
Yeah.
And learning how to speak to your direct opposite, it's like you got to be very aware of how you are and what your strengths are and what their strengths are and how they complement you. And it's a really great team. It really is. But there's like, you might hit some bumps in there, but the biggest thing is communication.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
like, I like to over communicate now. It's like, okay, let's make sure that there's no ambiguity of what we interpreted, because what you say to somebody may not be what they hear. So having them say it back and then confirming this is what we've done, and never assuming like this person has completely understood me, because we don't really ever completely understand each other, do we?
No, we don't.
Yeah, we're always puzzle pieces with one missing piece. I just feel like that it's a journey, right? Growing a team in a way that builds loyalty is something I've been striving towards, because there have been some big humps we've had to get through this year, and to see my team still with me, it's like, dang, it must be doing something right, because I feel like in any normal corporate setting, people would be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But when economic things happen, or like, it's like, oh no, what are we going to do? Like, the stress of that doesn't affect my team like I've seen other teams. And I think it's because we all know we're in it together. We're here to build something greater than ourselves, and they get the vision.
Yeah.
I think that's the cool part about being a visionary, is you can cast that over the team and help people see what they're working towards, who they're becoming in the process of all that too. And that builds loyalty in a team.
You with the name Heart Media DFW, does that give you just this, I guess, extra responsibility when you see that word heart, that the very fabric of what your company is and what the services you want to deliver to someone, that's where everything is coming from, that's something to live up to in what you're going to deliver?
Yes. We just want to make sure we're taking care of our clients.
Yeah.
We want them to feel like they were almost like the only client at that time. Like, we want them to feel so well taken care of. And our reviews reflect that. Like, people are so astounded by the production value, by the pre-production and the planning, by just the talking to us and getting the right words that were in their head out on paper.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a relieving effect of our presence. And I'm so proud of our team for doing that. Like, that we can be people who make this whole production process very stress-free, just because of who we are as people, on top of being good workers.
Well, I know you have some big visions and big thoughts ahead. So what are you thinking about in expanding this? I mean, yeah, you've launched this company, but what are your thoughts about making it bigger than you are right now? Yeah,
I mean, as far of how big, like, how you make a year goal and you're like, this year we're going to make this much. And I just am like, money is a tool to get you where you need to go. And I don't necessarily believe we need all this cash. So it's just like, how can we use to help people or sustain our team on a full-time salary or stuff like that? I think that the ultimate vision, though, is to provide accessibility for this. It's not something that a lot of people get to have, especially as college students. I remember having to drive. I mean, heck, I did that internship at the San Antonio place. So to have a place close by in Denton, I would love to stay in Denton. Dentonite for life, probably. But just to have something here, a studio that the kids can come and get real life experience, hands-on, modern clients.
Yes.
Like it's just like having that here with a modular podcast studio is what I'm thinking. A space for people to come and film for marketing agencies, creative agencies like us to come and like film content for clients on green screens or sound stages. It's something that we're lacking here in Denton.
We are.
And that's something we're in the works of getting created. It might be more of like on our 5 to 10 year plan.
Yeah.
Because that was always in my 10-year plan, at least to get a studio.
Yeah.
To help our clients out, to help other marketing agencies in the area that needs to go to Dallas or to Irving or, Fort Worth for all this stuff.
Yeah.
We just have such a big film community here that I know that we could help cultivate something. Because I know Dallas has a networking organization for film students or film professionals.
Right.
We don't have that here in Denton. So I'm looking into making something like that. So that's on the big horizon of what could be.
Yeah.
And we're going to focus, though, right now on establishing all of our offers, getting things really solid, removing me from some parts of it so I'm not wearing multiple hats all the time.
Yeah.
But once we get it there, I can start focusing on the vision that's a little bit outside of ourselves currently. But right now, our main focus is getting the business solid.
Well, you're doing just an incredible job with this, and my podcast wouldn't exist without the efforts that Heart Media does, so I appreciate that. But you have a great vision. I love hearing what you got coming ahead for the landscape for our area. I think it's going to be huge. You have a huge heart, and I appreciate what you're doing in the community and for this industry, and I appreciate you being on the show today.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Built for This. Be sure to follow Built for This on your favorite listening platform and share it with a friend. Join me on the next episode when I will share entertaining stories of inspiration, encouragement, and purpose-driven experiences. What are you built for? Built for This is produced and recorded by Heart Media DFW.